What's up, Sooner fans? Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. You see the subscribe button there. Make sure you've clicked that you're a part of this, of what's going on as it's game week in Sooner Nation. Palace on the Prairie is going to be rocking on Saturday. A hot, humid day, but the temps are dropping. But we're here today for our first of a weekly video we'll be doing about OK preps and high school players that OU's looking at, and kind of going to summarize how their game was on this past weekend, Friday nights, Thursday night, whenever they played. So we'll open up first, guys. Just some things that stood out on OU, looks that they're going after on some of these guys.
Yeah, I'll start it out with Jinx obviously got upset. I am a little shocked on it, but at the same time, Edmond Santa Fe lost. I think it was all 9 games last year that they lost was by 1 possession. They were in every single game, so the team very close to being able to win, just weren't able to do it last year. I mean, Friday went down to the wire. They had to block a field goal to win it. Final play of the game. And Caden Jones, he's not the best running back in the state yet, as Xavier Robinson is a senior. Caden Jones is only a sophomore, but he looked really, really impressive in his Jinx debut. There was a few plays where he was kind of stopped. He should have been brought down for a minimal gain that he just broke free and turned it into a big play.
And what about the lineman there for Santa Fe?
Josh Sosa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sosa had a good game as well. Burgeon Kaiser, he's a PWO defensive end. He trains with Christian Chief Littlehead, who's just, Danny Okoye called him the sensei, the guru, the professor, the guy in Oklahoma for defensive line. And looking at Burgeon Kaiser after week 0, I guess, you can see why he's coming to OU as a PWO, why OU is bringing him in, because he was just that dominant against Jinx. Jinx, one of the best teams. I'll still say they're one of the best teams in 6A1. And he had quite a few big plays behind the line of scrimmage, sacks, just getting right through the offensive line at Jinx.
Yeah. And with Jinx, it was kind of very shocking to see them get upset because, as you said, Hunter, Edmond Santa Fe was in every single game last year. They lost by 1 possession. But Jinx was thought of to maybe be the best team in 6A1 by some people. So, but I think that Jinx, and with Caden Jones, you saw on display, the dude can do it all. He can pass catch. He can run the ball. He's an extremely great athlete. Someone to look forward to watch in the next three years in OK Preps as he develops. And with Edmond Santa Fe, they just really put together quite the impressive game. And as you said, Oklahoma, they've been able to do some really good things with the PWO offers, and Andy Bass and Bergen Kaiser, two great players, and two guys that honestly probably should be Power 5 level players on full-ride scholarships at some schools.
Isn't Bass going to be scholarship? I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a PWO. It's PWO. Different.
Oh, it's not?
No,
it's different.
Hey, you want to talk about a dude who can do it all? Taylor Tatum. In his first game with Longview, he had 18 carries, 149 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 passing touchdown. His 1 rushing touchdown was a 64-yard house call that he took out of the Wildcat. They ultimately lost, and that was a game I think a lot of Oklahoma fans should have tuned into. If you haven't, I'd probably go back and watch it because there's just so many.
McKinney's loaded.
There's a couple OU targets all over the field. You've got Riley Pettijohn, who Oklahoma has been in contact with in 2025 class at linebacker for McKinney. Then you got Zay Gentry, who was in for the Sooners Under the Stars. He said that he'll probably like to get up to a game this season, so he's definitely a name to keep an eye on. He's a corner for McKinney. So McKinney's defense versus Longview's offense was definitely a game where there's Sooner targets on the field and a Sooner commit in Taylor Tatum, who did it all in his first game.
Well, if you go back and watch that game, it's fair to say that Taylor Tatum looked like the best quarterback on the field. I mean, what was it? Didn't he throw a 48-yard touchdown or something like that?
He only threw 1 ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but just the one throw he had, it was beautiful. I mean, Taylor Tatum is a dude that can do it all. He was clearly the best player on that Longview team, and I don't think it was very close.
Well, he's the number 1 running back in the nation. I mean, he's a stud.
Yeah, but I believe all of if not all of them, most of McKinney's back seven is Power 5 Division 1. So that was a very difficult defense to play against. And Taylor Tatum really had a phenomenal day.
Yeah, another Thursday night game, Westmoore Union at Moore. Devon Jordan with Union, 4-star, uncommitted. OU's in the top 5 there. Then Michael Patterson McDonald, 3-star safety in the composite rankings from Westmoore. Both had Michael got a little banged up. He kind of just, it was a little unfortunate for him at times. Union having a lot of offensive weapons. They're keeping the ball away from him. He wasn't able to necessarily make a ton of plays, but when the ball was in his area, he was making the plays. He muffed a punt. That was not a highlight moment at all. Tried to scoop it up, and he should have just let that one roll down to the goal line instead of giving Union a first and goal inside the red zone. And then also he tried to cut off Shaker Reisick from Union at the pylon. Shaker won that battle. Michael actually came up a little banged up. Cramping issues there too. So a lot of guys, Jeremy, me and you, I know no OU targets were necessarily in this game as of yet, but Sepulveda and Springs, we saw a ton of cramping Friday night because of the high heats. But Devon Jordan at Union looked every part of a 4-star defensive back. Like, he was locked down the entire game. The rare times that he was even able to like make a play, make a tackle on a run, he was there. Pass coverage, I don't think anything was even thrown towards him. And if it was just so overthrown. Like, he did his job the whole game there.
Well, to me, defensive backs, and he was sporting the OU gloves I saw, but defensive backs in high school, a lot of times can just be taken out of a game. If you're that good, they're not going to throw at you, and you're just not going to have a whole lot of plays. And I think that's the hard part of when you're watching some of these defensive backs that are really highly recruited. Unless they're playing special teams or both sides of the ball, you kind of don't get a real huge look at what they can do because they're not doing the 7-on-7 stuff. And if you're just the opposing team, you know he's a ball hawk. You're not coming at him. I mean,
I think Michael actually got a little bit of run on offense. I think he had like one rush for like 3 or 4 yards, kind of lining up at running back. That was interesting. I think they will possibly try to use him more on both sides of the ball. It's just when it's almost 100 degrees at 7:30, you've already pushed the game back, and it's still hot at 8:30 even. It's hard to try to get guys going both ways.
Yeah, and I know another guy that all Sooner fans are very intrigued by, interested in. I know you were there, Jackson, at the Noah Kiefer game. I saw tape of it, some highlights of Okoye, and kind of what Jay said there about DBs can be also true with a guy like Okoye, because you could totally run away from him. It's not like you have to run to his side every time. There are some highlights, some clips I saw, though, where, I mean, he's not down in a 3-point stance. The guy's standing up kind of at the middle of the field, just rushing through the line. I mean, obviously he looks the part, had a huge tackle for loss, Jackson, and some other things that stood out. But to me, it was his athletic ability on the film that I saw.
Yeah, and with Okoye, he was all over the field. I mean, talk about it. They moved him to middle linebacker. They had him at stand-up end. They had him with his hand in the dirt as a 3-tech, right? They had him at wide receiver. They even had him at tight end on a play. So he was used everywhere for Noah. He's an extremely great athlete. The ceiling for him is really unlimited. Like, we can say that. The dude is just athletically far advanced for his age. I would say that. And just with Danny Okoye, obviously, he got banged up in the second quarter. He had a wrap on his hamstring. So it didn't look too good. But from whenever he was healthy, even while he was hurt, you could still just see the flashes there, man. I mean, the dude can just do everything at such a high level. And even, I don't know how someone that big can move that well in space. Like, there was a play where He caught the ball, I want to say, for like a 3 or 4 yard gain and turned and ran to the middle of the field, made like 5 or 6 guys miss. So if OU can end up landing Danny Okoye, this will be a guy that I think will make immediate impact at OU.
Yeah, Danny will be on campus in 6 days now. Game 1 against Arkansas State. He's taking the official visit on game day. So that's one to watch there with as his recruitment approaches October, November, when he's going to make that final decision. But from the looks of everything, Jackson, you said it, everything you could see with Danny Okoye this week, the highlight huddle film that I saw, wasn't at the game, looked very much the part of a 4-star, possibly a guy that could rise to that 5-star status. Kind of back to the 405 Friday night, Carl Albert opened up the chase for, I think it's number 18 now. I think they have 17. They might have 18. It might be 19. I can't remember. They win a lot. It's hard to keep track. Xavier Robinson, 4 touchdowns and 38-10 win over Coweta. Coweta last year was one of the top teams in 5A. That was the
Nobody's
team.
Gonna stay close.
Yeah, no one's beaten Carl Albert. Tristan Haynes, I think. Brody, I don't know if you remember this. He returned to kick, right?
Yeah,
he returned to kick. Xavier Robinson had the 4 rushing touchdowns. And
Trey Washington had a couple nice catches too.
Yeah, but with X, it's just almost unfair. I was on the sideline last week for the scrimmage, so very close to him and see how big he is. And he's only a senior in high school. It's just not fair. There's goal line plays that kind of the middle was somewhat stuffed, so he tries to bounce outside, or not tries, he does bounce outside. And it's these are little kids out there trying to tackle him.
You know who he reminds me of?
Him. Who?
You know who he reminds me of? And I in no way
Henry
to this guy's career, but the way he runs. If you remember Jerome Bettis at all,
yeah.
Okay, Bettis was big, but he could also juke you.
Yeah.
I'm not in any way comparing him. He's going to be Jerome Bettis. I'm just saying the way he runs, somebody that big but also has speed and agility. He just seems. He seems like the real deal.
The stuff he's able to do should not be possible. Last year I think it was the semifinals. He flat out hurdled the dude. Cleared him. He's already throwing kids into the ground with his stiff arms, with his left arm, whatever it is. And then he's able to jump over them too. That's just, I think hurdling now is illegal. So I think it might've got called back, or I can't remember the Oklahoma rule on that. It's a little weird.
That's the dumbest rule ever too. But.
Yeah, it is pretty dumb on that. That I think if you can avoid them that way, why not avoid them that way? But
I would love to see Carl Albert versus Bigsby. And
I wish that would happen.
Dude, trust me, and Bigsby would win. Mark it down.
No, I don't know.
There's no way. They get rocked.
They would win.
Bigsby will roll most people in 6A, I think, this year again. But I don't know. Carl Albert and Bigsby to me would be just an amazing matchup, because I think a lot of things
players on the field.
Listen,
it would all come down to the trenches, and I think Bigsby is far more advanced on offense.
No, I think a lot of things that's not talked about with Bigsby is a lot of if you watch their offense, their head coach and their mastermind on offense. Period.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to have all the D1 guys. He's a genius.
He got a lot of really solid players too. But just the motion they run on their offense it's crazy.
Yeah,
the fact that they're able to do what they did to Owasso after losing 4 SEC guys, and the Has brothers, Luke and Dylan, Jacob Snyder, Cale Fugate at OU, Luke and Dylan at Arkansas, 4 SEC guys, and they were up 42-0, 49-0. What was it?
It was 35-0 at 35 point. So.
Yeah, and last year when they played Owasso, it was a much closer game, at least for a half. But it was they scored the first 3 drives, right?
That was the one. Cole Adams got hurt, and then Owasso
Cole Adams got hurt this year.
Yeah, last year. I'm saying this year they scored the first 3 drives. Bixby did, It was 21-0 fast.
Wasso didn't even score till the third quarter off.
Yeah.
And Owasso's not a bad team.
No, that team was the state runner-up last year.
Yeah,
which again in
Bixby's
state last year
better.
they lost by over 50. It might have been 60. I can't remember how much it was last year.
And the state championship,
yeah,
it was 69-6.
Yeah, so 63. But back to the Carl Albert Bixby, if they were to play, Bixby best team in the state in 6A for sure. Carl Albert, it's just the talent they have. Like Kevin Sperry is every bit of the best high school quarterback Oklahoma has seen in a long time. Like the way he throws the ball, you don't see that in Oklahoma. You see really good quarterbacks quite often, just not that Kevin Sperry level. Then Xavier Robinson, he's the best running back in Oklahoma right now. Then you got Tristan Haynes, you got Trey Washington, Marcus James. Like that's three other D1 guys that not only D1 guys, SEC guys. They're all going to go to OU. So it's just what Carl Albert has. I couldn't see a way where Bixby could beat them, and if they did, it would be a very close game.
Yeah, speaking about a crazy result, I mean, you mentioned the 69-6 or whatever. The Hawkins brothers, Malik and Michael, they won their first game at Frisco Emerson 69-3. They won by 66 points the other night. So good to see that Oklahoma's 2024, one of their two QB commits and a 2025, cornerback offer that Oklahoma is in a good spot with. Good to see that they're going out there and just steamrolling their opponent.
Yeah, and I know there's an offensive lineman offer for a guy out of, I think, Denton Ryan. I can't think of his name right now.
Ty Haywood had an insane
game. OU really needs him. Another thing I'd like to talk about is Lee Summit North. I know there's multiple guys on that team, but did anybody watch the coach on Twitter?
Jamar Mosey, the pregame speech, yes.
Dude, that guy, I almost left where I was at and went down there to go. I mean, the guy's insane.
He played it.
It sounded like Brent Venables, guys.
Dude, you need to go watch it. If you haven't watched it, viewers, if you haven't seen it, go on Twitter and find it. The guy these kids were just staring at him, not even blinking. I mean, they were all in, and this guy was putting on a speech for the movies, guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that, Mosey had another great game. Okay. Obviously, defensive tackle tore it up again. The one committed OU. Long name. I try to abbreviate his name usually. Y'all knew who I'm talking about?
Kamori Moore?
Yeah,
Kamori Moore.
Yeah, that's him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But Kamori Moore, he had a great game. I mean,
great game.
I think he had, I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 sacks, but he had a few TFLs. And I know he shed like 20 to 30 pounds this offseason. He looks great. He's a guy that I would expect to significantly rise in the rankings for the 2025 class over the course of the season. And Jason, as you said, Isaiah Mosey, that's a kid I would expect to end up at Oklahoma. Obviously, his dad is Jamar's head coach of Lee Summit North, the OU legacy. And Isaiah Mosey is just so great in space when he gets the ball. He can make guys miss, make plays out of nothing. He's a great deep threat and just a guy that I think Jeff Levy would love to use in his offense.
Yeah, we know Nuneri had the OU gloves on again, or OU cleats and stuff.
And it's because he's going to sign with the OU on National Signing Day.
That'll never.
Time will tell, guys. Time will tell, and it is weird. Week 0 in the books. Now you get to week 1, and there'll be some other interesting matchups as we go in this kind of non-district schedule. There's also some guys that are going to maybe make their way into the D1 level here on the east side of the state. I think there's some opportunity for some that are going to increase their stock. Many of these even Sooner commits that we'll be keeping our eyes on will have a chance to increase ratings and things like that. So make sure you're a part of the Sooner Surge, as we will be noting and discussing and talking about these Sooner offer commits and those that may be looking to get offers from OU. And as we do that, be a part of the Sooner Surge family, guys. Till next time, Boomer.